Seriously, Dick, where are you going to spend your vacation?
Where else? In beautiful downtown Burbank.
Now hold it. We've been getting a lot of complaints on the show about the jokes about downtown Burbank.
Whoa, folks, believe me, beautiful downtown Burbank is no joke.
Well, you've done it again.
What? I love Burbank. Why, it's the Sin Center.
The Sun Center.
Sun Center, I'm sorry. Keep those... We got Dean Martin's cue card, man. It's the Sun Center of the San Fernando Valley.
That's true.
Why, I even wrote a song about it.
You wrote a song about it?
So did I.
Yeah, great. Let's hear them both.
All right.
When you plan your next vacation, see the garden spot that's fairest in the nation. For a groovy new sensation, visit downtown Burbank.
Burbank, California can be one hell of a unique city. On the surface, it's such a normal place to raise a family, grab a Cubano and a café con leche from Portos, and even do a little vintage shopping. But as soon as you start digging just a little deeper within the historical parts and the dark crevices of Burbank, you'll discover a pretty unique underbelly of the macabre and some haunted history. Join Holly Weird Paranormal as we take a haunted tour of the city of Burbank, deep in the valley. Let's travel to Glenoaks Blvd as we tour the tranquilly eerie library at Woodbury University. Let's grab a bite and maybe a milkshake at the supposedly haunted Coral Cafe located off of Burbank Boulevard. Then let's shop and chat with the ghosts of the Bearded Lady and Mystic Museum. Then we save the best for last. Let's take a spooky after-hours tour of the sound stages over in Warner Brothers, and we might be able to rub elbows with the ghosts of Betty Davis and James Dean, and then we can head on over to the props warehouse where we can hang out with Annabelle the doll. She is definitely dying to meet you. So slide into your favorite shoes, grab your K2 meter, and slap on some sunscreen because it can get pretty sunny and hot in the valley. And join us as we take the haunted tour of Burbank, California. Let's get Holly Weird in the valley.
My name's William. This is my ghost story. It was like 6th grade. I was staying with just sleeping over at a friend's house, and he lived in this very weird house that was was like an old reclaimed barn, and the front of the house kind of looked like a face, and I didn't like it. Kind of freaked me out a little bit. And him and his siblings claimed that their house was haunted, but they were also elementary school age kids, so it was probably lying for clout. And so that night I got up to use the restroom, and they had a powder room, so it was just like a toilet and a sink. There was nothing in it, and it had this very weird pocket door. So I went in to use the bathroom, and I closed the door, and then it slid open slowly, and I thought it was just like a shoddy door. So I closed the door again, and then I heard tapping. So it was like a tap, 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 tap.
Can you
pretty
do
prominent.
the tap on the table?
Yeah.
Because it's pretty prominent.
It was kind of like this.
See, that is a pretty loud tap.
Yeah.
That's not like a little baby tap. Like, it could have been an insect, but that's you felt like it was a person behind the door, right?
Yeah, so I opened the door to check to see if anyone was behind it, maybe needing to use the restroom, and there was no one there. And then
Everyone has a ghost story. It might be an urban legend you heard in a sleepover, or that time you saw a family member appear and disappear in a blink of an eye. right before the hour of their death. It might not even be your story. We all have ghost stories that have crawled into the deepest parts of us and never let go. If you're lucky, then these stories may not have involved you in the first place. Cross this threshold with us as the nights get a little longer and the veil gets thinner with the Saturday Night Ghost Club on Holly Weird Paranormal's Patreon page. Want to hear these sidewalk ghost stories? Become a Patreon today at www.patreon.com/HollyWeirdParanormal for as little as $1 or more a month. Saturday nights on Holly Weird Paranormal's Patreon page just got even more spooky. Come and join us as we cross this creepy threshold to tune into these creepy stories and more of Saturday Night Ghost Club. So join us if you dare. It's about that damn time.
It is about damn time.
I'm sure everyone's wondering, where the effing mother and F have you guys been?
Look, we talk about ghosts all the time. We just thought we'd try ghosting, see how it felt. It didn't feel great. I didn't like it.
No, it was terrible.
We're back.
Yeah. Imagine a ghost being ghosted.
Ooh,
what do you call that?
Ghostception.
Oh. Like
and
that.
if anyone was listening, they've stopped immediately.
Yeah. Hey guys.
Hi.
Welcome to Holly Weird Paranormal. We are your hosts, Tammy Merhap Chavez.
I'm Bryce Mitchell-Williams.
And it's been a while.
It has been a minute, girl.
I mean, I thought that October was just like, going to be a nice, long, spooky month, and it was like pretty chaotic.
It was long in a way, I think. I mean, I can imagine how it's been at the school, honestly, since when I was there. It was always so chaotic.
Yeah.
But it also, this whole year, I cannot figure out what month we're in. I'm like, wait, isn't it like March? Like, why are we... Like, I remember being like, this is going to be a great summer. And it was. I had an amazing summer. But it's gone, and I don't know where I put it. I cannot find the receipt. It's out of my life. Yeah, and that's how October was, too.
It's on layaway.
Ooh,
there you go.
I have already been actively avoiding the Target Christmas section because it's beautiful and amazing, and I will spend every penny that I have.
You just got back from Target.
I know. I literally was at Target today.
How was it?
It was amazing.
Oh, my God. How were the moms?
Oh, always so great. As always. And I was like on my phone, and like the number of people that I like would almost get run over by. I was like, and I'm not paying attention, so that's definitely my fault.
Yeah.
But like, you literally are going to kill me with your cart. What is happening? Yeah, love it.
Target on a Sunday scares me just like walking into a Costco over the weekend.
Oh, girl, you got to be brave.
You really got to be. I could walk into a haunted house, but walking into a Costco on a Saturday, brace yourself.
Especially if you need more than like you can carry, because honestly, if you're like mobile in a Costco, you're good.
You're good.
But
if
you're trapped behind those massive carts with your own massive cart, you're going to be in there for 3 hours minimum.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. With your brand muffins.
I know.
And so your variety pack.
That Kirkland brand gets it. What's up?
I know. All right, guys. So we've been thinking about what to do today for this little episode, and I have been doing some awesome research, interviewing some amazing people, just to forewarn you guys in our future episodes, we're going to be doing a lot of interviews.
I love it.
And we're probably going to be taking some trips, too.
I love it.
Oh, yeah. So we're going to do an awesome walking tour of Haunted Burbank.
Woo.
We are going to end up at the famous Warner Brothers Studios.
Yes.
We got some haunted tales connected to that studio, guys. You definitely don't want to miss it. So we're not going to say grab your favorite tennis shoes because we're in the valley.
And it's on fire. So
and it's
honestly,
on fire.
your shoes
Seriously.
will melt.
Where's fall? What happened with fall? Because it's like
know.
98 degrees and I am crying and desperately awaiting to wear a sweater.
I know. I just have been doing it.
I've been grabbing a sweater to wipe my sweat.
I'm like, I don't care. It's fall. I'm wearing this. Like, you're dying. I don't care.
I don't care. Hold on. Just hold my purse. I need to take off my sweater and squeeze the sweat out. Yeah,
Autumn
that's
is my
pretty much what it
favorite
is.
Season, and we really don't have it, so I just kind of have to force
I know.
it. Mm-hmm.
And it's hot.
It's hot.
Today and yesterday was really hot.
And LA is literally on fire. It's
It is.
The whole city. I don't know. I went on the
a couple of weeks ago it was on fire. So
I went on the Griffith Park hike last week, and like at the peak, you look and literally in every direction that I looked, there was a fire. Yeah,
What?
you could see because it's like the highest peak, so you can literally see the entire basin and the entire valley, and like all the way to Burbank. And like if it's really clear, you can see like fucking Big Bear right in the distance, and you can just see all the plumes of smoke. It's really kind of terrifying.
It was.
And then yesterday there was one like literally at Forest Lawn.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck? That is so close. Like, I don't know if anyone has a map out, but like from where Tammy and I live to Forest Lawn is like a stone's throw away. I was very
That's where
unhappy.
MJ is buried.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson. Chamo.
All right, not in peace. That's right. I said it. Controversial. Every time he comes on at the gym, I'm like, change this song. Yeah.
Oh, no.
I know.
Bless. Well, let's get started with our little haunted tour.
Let's do it.
We got we got our fanny packs. We're going to call an Uber. Yes. We have our little iced coffee and our towels just to wipe the sweat, and our stunner shades because it's sunny outside in the valley, of course. All right, guys. So what we're going to do, we're going to hit Woodbury University. Do you know where that is?
The area, yeah.
Okay,
I had a friend that did a show there.
Oh, really? So Woodbury is off of 7500 Glenoaks Blvd. So it's a little further out in Burbank area. And it's a little private university. And it all starts with this woman, Mother Cabrini.
Damn.
Yes, so she was the first American canonized as a saint by the Roman Catholic Church.
Damn. Get it, girl.
I know. She lived and performed some of her work in the Verdugo Mountains above Burbank at a preventorium she started for poor girls. So she dies in 1917 and was beatified in 1938, and in 1946 was canonized as the patron saint of immigrants.
Amazing.
Yes, get it, girl. So in 1906, Mother Cabrini bought 120 acres. For a woman to buy that much land back then, that was a pretty big deal. Yeah. So she buys 120 acres of Burbank land, dotted with olive trees and grapevines, and over the years structures have pretty much come and gone according to the needs of the various entities occupying the property, such as Villa Cabrini Academy, the Lutheran High School Association of Southern California, even the Chiropractic Associated Practices of Educational Foundation, and the Cal Arts Institute.
Love it. Obsessed.
So Woodbury University comes in, they purchased 22 acres of the property in 1986 and renovated the former chapel to house its beautiful library. So have you, if anyone's ever gone to their library, it's really, really beautiful. It does have a chapel feel, but it's gorgeous. Now, the dark wood ceiling was sandblasted and stained white to lighten the room. And as you enter the library, as we cross this threshold from the circulation area, the closets to the left and right were originally the confessional booths. Ooh. Now, the rooms on either side of the chapel housed the ranks of pipes for the organs, and these rooms are now used to store microfilm and archive materials. Cool. Now, the upstairs loft area of the library is now used as a study area, which was once the choir area. Now, left in place during the renovation was the original Italian chandeliers, which were refurnished to their original brass and steel, the terrazzo tile flooring, and the upper level stained glass windows.
Amazing.
So, yes, it looks like the inside of, maybe Elton John's mansion, one of his McMansions, of course. Yeah. Now the school, which one? Now the school is so beautiful and has been the setting for famous shows. So, are you a big fan of The Office?
Yes.
Yes. So it's been used in The Office, Criminal Minds, The Wonder Years, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and the horror film Truth or Dare. Ooh. So, what is the ghost story attached to Woodbury? Well, according to legend, it is said that there's a bell tower on campus where people have claimed to have seen a woman who looks like a nun roam around the tower. Now, I'm sure people are thinking oh my God, the nun, like the nun movie. No, not necessarily. Legend has it that whenever you hear the bells of the tower ring, it's the ghost of Mother Cabrini herself ringing them.
Damn.
That is the legend. Now, Mother Cabrini...
There's some unpaid intern who's like, bitch, that's me every day. I'm ringing those bells. It's not a ghost. Who's spreading this legend? I love that.
I like dressing up like a nun.
Some poor freshman is like, I'm doing this for credit. Why are they saying that? Hilarious.
It's rush week. Sorry.
Oh my God. Yes, it is. It's always rush week at Hollywood Paranormal.
There you go. Now, Mother Cabrina has also been sighted within the aisles of the Woodbury Library. So people have claimed that certain parts of the library feel tranquilly eerie, and there's a feeling of being watched, and students have claimed they've seen a woman dressed as a nun roam the aisles of the library.
Amazing and
Even
terrifying.
after the library's been closed, people in this study area, which was once the choir area, have said that they've seen a woman coming in and out of that area dressed as a nun.
Damn.
Yeah.
Does the school still employ nuns? Do you know? Because
That is
that's
a good
even creepier if
question.
you don't like. You know what I mean? I feel like if
I don't
there
think
were
they
nuns,
would.
I don't
Yeah.
think they would either. And honestly, I don't know many nuns who wear full habits anymore necessarily.
No.
But I always wonder, like, you know how if you see a bunch of things, your brain like maybe it's like they see something. Mm-hmm. And like, oh, it's like a nun that's working there, but not like if there's no nuns that work there, that's even creepier.
I don't think there's any of them because
that's so
it's a
creepy.
private sector. Like
Right.
Woodbury is private, so I don't think there's any of them. Like if you go to like a Loyola University, like the one I went to in New Orleans, it was also ran by Jesuits, and we had priests that would come and go, and a couple of nuns that didn't have like the traditional habits or anything. They had like their
Yeah,
cute
I don't
little
think
like
it's quite as
cardigan.
common anymore.
No, it's like it's a little more contemporary now.
Yeah, and I guess it would probably depend on the order, but interesting.
They're millennial nuns, you know?
Love it.
Ooh, don't you like that?
You know what I actually really love too is that weirdly the early church, little church history, was like this weirdly like feminist thing where like a woman, like you were saying, had like all of this power because of being a nun.
Yeah.
That sort of like was a shield that protected her from
She was protected by religion.
yeah, where like women who like weren't married did not have as much autonomy.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like this weird reverse thinking where like, oh, like you're a nun, you have no rights.
Right.
You're married to Christ and the church. And like within the structure of the church, yes, that's only a certain level that you can rise to as a woman. But at the time, like you're saying in the 20s, it's like this weird thing where they're like able to purchase property and like get an education and like teach at like a university level because of their like faith essentially. I don't know. I always find that like really fascinating.
No, it is
That,
fascinating.
like, being a vocational nun was like a legitimately solid career choice for women.
Power of the habit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Get it, girls.
Nun power.
Nun power.
All right, guys. Now we're gonna hop onto the Uber again.
Yes.
We're gonna grab a couple patty melts and maybe a milkshake or two.
I'm not doing sugar right now.
Oh, you do
Very LA.
keto?
I
keto?
don't. No, not really. I don't know. I'm just not eating sugar pretty much and vegetables all the time. And,
Like a stevia for me.
ooh,
I know.
smart. I love that. You know what the hardest part has been? I haven't been able to have a pumpkin cold brew in like 6 weeks. I know, girl.
Hold on, a moment of silence.
I know.
A moment of silence for Bryce. How do you feel? Are you okay? Do you need to talk about it?
Yeah, I'm just in a very vulnerable place right now.
Would it make you feel better if you just hold on to my iced coffee real quick?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, are you sure? It's here.
I don't know if
It's
I can
here
be
for
that close.
support.
I know.
I'm sorry.
That's so ridiculous.
All right, guys,
I
we're
know.
gonna hop on this Uber and avoid going to a Starbucks because Bryce cannot do.
Oh no, I'm still drinking black coffee.
Okay,
Let's
good.
be very clear.
But
I'm not an insane.
You could let
person.
him smell the pumpkin spice.
I honestly think if I didn't drink coffee, I would die.
No, put it in an IV, stick it in my arm, and call
Have
it a
to,
day.
you have
Seriously. So we're gonna go to the Coral Cafe, guys. It's a little further out, but we're gonna start further out. I would say in the cusp right there by North Hollywood,
Yes.
Off of Lankershim and Burbank. So we're going to go to the Coral Cafe. And why? Well, there is supposedly a ghost at the Coral Cafe. And that's what people kind of want to believe, explained by Peter Varnes, one of the Burbank Diner's managers. So there is a video that was released in 2006. And it's a CCTV footage of this man that's cleaning. He's mopping the floors in the diner because the diner is open 24/7. And around 4:16 a.m., you see in the CCTV footage like what looks like these two dark orbs kind of manifest into what looks like an apparition of a woman.
Oh my God.
And it's following this poor man that's trying to clean the floors. And you can see like the man turns around at one point and he looks at this apparition and he's kind of like spooked. So
oh my God.
It's on YouTube. I don't know if you want to hear. You want me to pull it up real quick? Here, we're gonna pull it up, guys. Let's listen to the fear in Bryce's
live reaction of me screaming.
Yeah, serious. All right, here we go.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna post this on our Instagram.
Yes.
All right, so here it is. Let's go.
Oh my God.
Don't you see that? It just like
oh my God. Ew.
I'm laughing because I'm so nervous about this. Like, I don't know if it's like legit or if it's. I mean, 4:16 a.m. in the morning. It's kind of close to witching.
Oh my
yeah.
God. I don't
but
know.
you
that
see
last
it.
Panel
yeah.
does seem a little.
But you see, he kind of is like, "What the fuck is behind me?"
Oh, I do not like that. I don't like that it's following him.
Right? And he's the only one in the place.
Gross.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's a pretty intense video, guys. So we're going to post it on our Instagram so you guys can take a look at it. So here's the thing. Coral Cafe has stood in the same Burbank location since 1957 when it was opened by its original owners, Danny and Irene Frydokowski, a married couple who kept the diner until selling it to cousins John Leosis and Tom Varanas in 1990. Now, its neon green and coral sign shines boldly in an otherwise quiet neighborhood of Burbank where there are yards with lawns and plenty of parking, unlike West Hollywood, of course.
Yes.
And when the streets are dark at night in Burbank, you could definitely see the Coral Cafe sign light up brightly.
I love that.
Now, I've gone inside. I've eaten there before. I've even asked a couple of the workers there, and this one hostess that I was talking to, I was like, hey, is it true that this place is haunted? She said, well, I haven't seen or felt anything because I usually work during the day, but I know that some people at night have claimed that they felt some things, like chairs will kind of be, they'll move around by themselves. Dishes will clank by themselves when they're left on the table. So there's something there. They just don't know what it is.
I wonder, too, if there's, like, manifested energy. Like how you said people want it to be.
Yeah. Or maybe it's something that people have brought in.
Oh, interesting.
Because if it's a bit of a grease spoon kitchen, if you think about it. Like, there's some pretty rough people that go in there, especially if it's open past midnight. You think about the people that go in there past midnight.
Nothing good happens after midnight.
No.
So, like, go to bed.
Go to Taco Bell.
Don't text that person that you're getting ready to text. Go to sleep. Because nothing good happens after midnight. Do not go to this cafe. They're going to hate me. They're like, just stop ruining our customers. Like, but facts are facts, America. I don't know what to tell you.
So, yeah, I mean, Lord knows what was probably brought there, and it probably just stayed there.
Look, if you're going to haunt somewhere, I think a diner is pretty high on the list for me.
Right.
Being, like, around that food. I love diner food.
Me too.
Love
like,
it.
go Haunted Dupars or something.
For sure.
Ooh, yeah, especially the pies.
Ooh, yeah, I love that.
I'm all about that, too.
I feel like haunting, like, the place you worked. Like, ugh, sad.
Yeah, we'll get into that very, very soon. Actually, we're going to go down the street, guys. We're going to hit Magnolia Boulevard because this is a really interesting street, and I happen to have a ghost story of my own that happened at Ace Vacuum and Sewing.
Damn.
Talk about, going
Close
back
to home.
Talking about, like, going back to work in the afterlife. This is the story of Frank, and we sent this story to Two Girls on the Bench for their Halloween episode. So it's on their list, guys. If you go and subscribe to Two Girls on the Bench, they're one of our Pottern friends.
I love them.
But they did a really awesome, like, I think it was a 2 or 3 part series of, like, just ghost stories that they collected from other Pottern friends as well, us included. So in short, this is what had happened. In February of 2019, I was picking up a sewing machine from Ace Vacuum and Sewing, and they're located on 2916 West Magnolia Boulevard. Shout out. And it's a very small shop.
Yes.
It's right next to one of our favorite coffee shops, Palm Coffee.
Yes.
And I, was sitting in my car after, the manager came in and helped me load the machine into my car. and there was a lot of traffic, so I was like waiting in the car, and I was just doing a TikTok video, which is what you guys have seen on our Instagram. And just to kill the time, I didn't have to rush back home. I didn't have to go back to work. I was like, I could just like chill here until traffic subsides. So I record the video, I review the video, and then there's this part where I'm wearing sunglasses, and in the frame where I'm wearing sunglasses, I see a face on the lens of my sunglasses.
Ugh.
And I keep on going back to the frame, and then I finally screenshot it, and I zoomed in. It's a face of an old man.
Oh my God.
And he's wearing these big sunglasses. He has this like bald head and like a scruffy beard. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, wait, no one was around me. No one was parked in front or behind me. No one was walking anywhere around my car. The only movement is the traffic way on my left side. But there's not a soul around me.
Ugh.
So
Or
I am
was there.
was there. So I go home. I'm kind of freaking out, and I'm thinking, is something like attached to me? Like, what happened? So in my car, I'm like, look, whatever I captured on this video, you're not welcome in my safe space, just to protect myself. So I sent the picture to a couple of my friends who are paranormal investigators, and they were perplexed. They were just like, I don't know what that is, Tammy. That is something, it's kind of freaky. Where were you? And I told them, look, I was on this busy street. It's a place with shops. And they're like, I mean, is the shop haunted? I'm like, it's a vacuum and sewing machine repair shop. But then again, it is Old Burbank, so maybe. The next day, I decided to contact the shop. And I have good rapport with them. So I spoke with the manager, and I was like, Jason, I'm coming from a good place here, and I'm serious about this. Do you have anything weird that's happened in the shop? And he said, without any hesitation, yes. That things have been moving in and out of the shelves. Things would fall off the shelves. When he's in the back of the shop, it sounds like someone's rummaging through things in the front of the house. And they have their stations in the back of the shop where they do their repairs. Their tools are always there set on their station. Sometimes those tools will go missing and end up in the front of the house for no apparent reason. And I asked him, is it in relation to the vintage machines? Because they have some on display. And he said, no, it's Frank. I'm like, what?
You named it.
You named it. I'm like, who's Frank? Who's Frank? He said, Frank used to work here.
Oh my God.
And Frank died 3 years ago.
Whoa.
And I asked him, I'm like, what did Frank look like? Bald, big sunglasses, and before he can say the rest, I was like, scruffy beard. He said, yeah. I'm like, Jason, I need to bring this picture to you tomorrow. I don't know how to explain it to you, but I captured something in front of your shop after you helped me load the machine into my car. And he said, yeah, just come on by. So the next day I go to the shop. I showed him and the owner dragging the picture, and it was as though they literally saw a ghost.
I mean, which, like Loki, they did.
Yeah. Let me tell you about these two guys. Like, they're two tall, buff men. Like,
go on.
Yeah. And they are like tatted up. They're not the type of guys that would bullshit you, They're coming in to do a job, and that's it. And when I showed him this picture, it was as though like their face, it looked like they just saw an old friend.
Yeah.
It was kind of bittersweet, but then it was also very shocking because they were like, that's Frank. They were so shocked. And then I told him, look, I captured this out in my car. I just want to know why. And they were like, we don't know why, but he's been here ever since he passed. And I asked them, like, did he pass in this shop? And Jason goes on to tell me that Frank had walking pneumonia. He didn't know he had it.
Oh my God.
He thought he was really sick, but this guy was so ride or die for his job that he would go to work, even if he was like, on his last leg, on his last breath, he would still make it to work. He loved his job.
That's right. Surprise socialist rant incoming. No. It's so sad because like I'm sure he did love his job, but he probably felt like he couldn't miss, you know what I mean? Like so many people, like I can't afford to get sick. I can't afford to get sick. I can't afford to get sick.
True that. Yeah.
Oh my God.
But genuinely he liked being around these two guys, That's what I got from Jason. Like he led a very tough life. He was a recovering alcoholic.
Wow.
A recovering drug addict. which is why his body was left very vulnerable to this, and it took him the way it did. So Jason tells me that he was the last person that Frank spoke to right before his death. What ended up happening is Jason gets a call from Frank.
Oh my God.
And he's like, oh, Frank was running late, which is not like him, because he literally lived around the corner. He would bike to work. So Frank told him, hey, I'm not feeling that well, but I'm still on my way. I'm halfway there. And Jason's like, yeah, just take your time. We'll see you soon. And he said literally like 10, 15 minutes after he got off the phone with him, he sees ambulances, cop cars, a fire truck. And he's like, what the hell happened? And it turned out that they were going to Frank's body, because after he got off the phone with Jason, his heart gave out and he collapsed in the middle of the street. So his heart just...
Oh my God.
It just couldn't... Yeah, his body just... It just went into shock, and he had cardiac arrest because of the pneumonia. Yeah. So he pretty much died on the way to work. And ever since then... strange things were happening in the shop. So they would hear what sounds like footsteps were in the back of the room. If one of them was in the shop, they would call out like, hey, is that you, Dragon? Is that you, Jason? Nothing. And they would hear what sounds like voices in the back. It sounds like a man's voice. And things would be thrown off the shelves. And then finally, Jason was like, one day I just said, Frank, do you mind? And it stopped. So they knew it was Frank.
Holy shit.
They knew it was him.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so I was like, why do you think he was like showing himself to me? That's so weird. Has this ever happened to you? He's like, this has never happened. Like, you're the first person that has caught something like this of Frank. Like, we've heard things, we felt things, but we never actually have seen it.
I mean, maybe that has something to do with like either him sensing that you're someone who is more open.
And that's what Jason said. He said, well, you do this because while I was there, I was doing the live Instagram feed, and people were asking questions, and I asked him, I'm like, what do you think? And he said, well, because you do this stuff, you dabble in this stuff, and maybe, you're a little more open. Or maybe he just, saw a cute girl and wanted to say hi. What, Lord knows what. I was like, yeah, I like that too.
That's the only possible answer.
But no matukas, it's fine. But yeah, it was just so
well, and I wonder
crazy.
If like, if he has shown himself to other people who aren't looking. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so they don't notice, or they're not aware, they're closed off or blocked or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So it's like, or maybe he sensed it, or maybe he's just a new ghost and he doesn't know how to do it yet.
He's like, what are you doing there on that one phone? Like, he was so old school. He had a flip phone. He had his bike. He was like, he had his pawpaw glasses. That was one thing that was really cool about this interaction with these two guys and Frank, is that it was a little bit morbid, but in the end, it felt like a memorial for him, because they were sharing so many stories about this man, and it was very bittersweet. And it was like, they were really friends with him. Yeah, they were his friends, and I could see why and understand why Frank loved where he worked.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and maybe, this is my takeaway from it. I felt like, because I'm sharing it right now, I just feel like Frank led a very lonely life, and I feel that maybe he wanted his story to be told. He wanted people to know that he lived a very tough life and he existed,
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I left there with a little ghost acquaintance, because every time I go to Palms, every time I'm around, and every time I pass Ace, I always stop to say hi to Frank.
I love that.
Yeah, I just say a little prayer for him. I say, what's up? Sometimes I even take pictures. I'm like, maybe I could capture him again.
Yeah.
And that's it. Yeah.
Damn, that's crazy.
That's my story of Frank, and, I'll never forget him.
From sewing machines to spirits.
Yeah. We got them all in Burbank.
Yes.
All right, guys, so we're going to walk a little further down to one of our favorite places in Burbank, and it's the Bearded Lady Shop and the Mystic Museum. If you're ever in and around the Burbank area and you love curiosities about Ouija boards, tarot cards, palmistry, or maybe insects or bat taxidermies.
Sure. Who doesn't?
Or you're looking for spooky vintage photos, books, artifacts on the occult, or have a love for horror movies, or you're just looking to buy some beautiful dark art, the Bearded Ladies Mystic Museum has it all. And what makes the museum stand out from the rest, aside from its stellar horror installation, it's haunted.
Of course it is.
It's pretty haunted.
You had me at old photos. Those are for sure haunted. What?
Yes,
What?
so they have a lot of old artifacts
Damn.
in that little museum. They have a collection of old Ouija boards. They have a lot of vintage pieces from other mediums and their in-house Mystic Dylan. What's up? That there's a lot of energy attached to those things. So last year I spoke to Eric, who's one of the owners. So it's him and Kiko. They run and they own the Mystic Museum and Bearded Lady. We tried having an interview with him in October, but because our schedules were so opposite, we couldn't. So according to Eric, there's a lot of little apparitions there, a lot of energies that are attached to certain items in the shop.
Yes, I've seen Annabelle. Go on.
Well, yeah, they do have a doll.
No, absolutely not. Oh my God. I will be on the sidewalk outside. I'm not doing that. Nope.
So they have this little mantle inside the back of a museum where they have their installation. And according to Dylan, there's a man that's attached to that mantle. And he's a man in his 30s. He lived in the 40s and he used to be a bouncer. So he pretty much looks after the museum.
Aw.
And he watches over everything. So he's like
I
a
was
little
gearing up to be
protective.
scared, but that's actually kind of cute.
Well, it's going to get scary.
There it is. Thought that might be coming, yes.
So Kiko bought a witch statue from an estate sale. And it was from an old movie lot. And ever since they got this witch, things started happening. Like little mischievous poltergeist-esque things started happening in the shop. So things would fall off the shelves. There would be weird knocks, unusual cold spots.
Ooh.
And according to Dylan, it's a spirit of an old woman that's attached to this specific statue.
Damn.
So yeah, no one has seen her, but she definitely likes to make her presence known by doing little mischievous things.
Why do you think some spirits, in a slight tangent, manifest physically and some choose not to?
That is a good question. I feel like some spirits, depending on how much energy they can absorb,
Interesting.
can manifest into anything. Sometimes they could be little balls of lights, which are called orbs. They could be even little smoky mists.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. The base is
Our neighbors are definitely doing some sort of like rave or dubstep downstairs because my feet are feeling the vibrations.
If you're not having a rave at 5 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon, what
What
are you
doing? Listening to us, of course.
Yeah,
talking
naturally,
about
and we
But
rave
yeah.
harder than anybody.
But yeah, I mean, like, if you look at the different types of manifestations or different types of entities, like there's, full body entities, there's mists, there's orbs as well. There's outlines. There's also shadow people, shadow figures. So,
Don't love that last one.
And sometimes, like, they just, like to be in the corner. They don't like to show themselves.
Yeah.
It's, different hypothesis.
Yeah.
There's not one set answer. I'm sure people are like, no, I have the answer. Well, I'm sure there's a lot of different hypotheses about that.
And they all probably have, like, a basis in reality because just how no two people are the same. Like, I assume no two spirits would be the same either. So, like, you and I like different things. We would probably be different kinds of ghosts.
Yes.
I would be very lazy. Just like, I don't know. I guess I'm an orb today.
I would be a vision of a tall venti iced coffee, of course.
Oh, yeah. I'm for sure haunting a Starbucks. It's fine.
Another entity that tends to roam around the Mystic Museum is an entity of a little girl. Now, Eric had explained to me on an Instagram live feed a year ago that he had a very interesting yet scary experience when he was closing the shop. So there were stories that were circulating from Kiko and another girl that was also another partner of the shop. So they would tell him, I think there's a spirit of a little girl that likes to like run around and giggle. And Kiko has even seen her, seen like a part of her, like running past a doorway. So what they believe is that she's connected to this door that separates the museum from the shop. And it's a door that they bought at a sale. It's an old physician's door. It's wooden and has glass. It looks like something that you would see in an old doctor's office, you know?
Damn.
So, according to Eric, one night when he was closing by himself. He hears the sound of little pitter-patter feet, like a child running. Mm-hmm. And he thought, oh, it's someone in the museum, and someone they haven't exited. So he walks around the museum and no one's there. And then he hears what sounds like a laughter of a child. Yeah. And then he notices there's this tall table. He sees this head bobbing. Like he sees like this little outline of a head peek out from underneath the table. And he bolts and jets out. He's like, that was it. I'm done.
Damn.
He got so freaked out. He got super freaked out. He's like, we're not doing this. He was so spooked that night. He was like, I could tell like it was messing with me, and I just didn't want to be messed with that night.
No.
Yeah. So he was freaked out. Another thing, too, that they have in the shop is a stuffed animal that belongs to a little boy, and several mediums that have gone inside the museum claim that it's a little boy energy that is attached to the doll, and it could be confused for the little girl. So because people have heard a child laughing, they really haven't seen a full body apparition of the girl.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe they're friends.
maybe you never know. But according to Eric and Kiko, the spirits are very comfortable there. And even Mystic Dylan has said that they don't want to leave the shop because they feel very, very comfortable in that space.
Interesting.
They feel very welcome. They're very much attached to, the museum itself. And Kiko and Eric respect them. And they respect Kiko and Eric. And in a way, they are watching the shop for them, too.
Yeah.
I was there doing a paranormal investigation with Bloody Mary, who is the voodoo queen of New Orleans.
Yes.
And we were doing an EVP session, and it was myself and 12 other people in this room.
Damn.
And I kid you not, during the investigation, Mia's playing with her little toy.
Hilarious.
During the investigation, there was this shelf, and it had a card on a little easel.
Mm-hmm.
And she asked the question, we're talking to the spirit of the little girl or maybe the woman attached to the witch statue. If that's you that's been making, things fall from the shelves, or for those phantom knocks, can you do something? Can you move something? Can you speak into this mic? Can you maybe make something fall off the shelf? And sure enough, the card on the easel flips off of the easel and off of the shelf.
Damn.
And it lands onto the floor. And
oh my God.
All of us witnessed this in the room, like myself and 12 other people.
Yeah.
We saw this happen. Like there was no cause for it. We even tried to debunk it. We're like, is there a vent? I mean, did you bump into the shelf? Nothing. It was like this force literally grabbed the card and just flipped it off the easel and onto the floor. You could hear it go. Yeah, it was. I saw it. I was like, that thing looks like it's gonna move. Like, what is that? And then it just falls off the shelf.
Oh my God.
So yeah. Now, I was there a couple of weeks ago. We're going to listen to this little interview with Vanessa, who is a part-time worker at the Mystic Museum. And it seems like Kiko and Eric keep on buying things.
Oh my God.
And these things are manifesting some sort of energy in there. And Vanessa and some other workers have been experiencing some strange ongoings. So this is my interview with Vanessa, since I wasn't able to interview Eric and Kiko. So we're going to listen to that right now.
Love it.
Hi, my name is Vanessa. I work at Mystic Museum, and this is my ghost story. So I started working at Mystic Museum like a month ago. I used to come in all the time. But as I started working here, we had another employee that would tell me that when we would go and open together, he would find Ouija boards on the floor.
No.
Yeah.
That's right. You guys have a collection of Ouija boards here, right?
Yeah. So we used to have them standing up on a table in the center of the store, and it was before the doors were open. He started taking photos because I didn't believe him, and I thought he was just trying to punk with me because I'm new. So he showed me the photos of like the days that I'd come into work before I'd get here, that there was Ouija boards on the floor. So that day that he showed me, there was a lady in the store, and I was thinking about it, and I was like, oh, like, he's just joking, whatever. So, as I was thinking about it, it's funny because one of them fell in the center of the store. So I was like, that's just coincidental. Like, maybe it's just the way it was, like, standing or whatever. So it was a stack of 4. And as I walk to pick it up, I bend over, get it, and the rest of the stack falls on my head.
Oh my God. Were you okay?
I was definitely fine. It was just more of the scare.
Do you think it was an initiation, like, welcome to the Mystic Museum?
Definitely. So the lady that was in here, she screamed, ran out, and she never came back. And there was also 2 guys in the store when that happened, and they were freaked out because they told me those boards didn't slide off the table, which they would since they were leaning. He was like, they went like the opposite direction, so they fell. So they were like, that's freaking weird. And we had a rental one time, and the store was essentially empty. It was just us, and then the party that was renting the store. And that night, I kept seeing the apparition of a man from behind the counter.
Oh my God. I heard about this apparition.
Yeah. He was trying to open the cases. So I saw him 3 times that night. The first time, I was behind our counter, and I thought from the corner of my eye, I saw someone trying to open up our jewelry case that has like morning jewelry. And as I look up, I was like, oh, hello, and there was nobody there.
What did he look like?
Definitely I couldn't see his face, but I saw his torso and his arms and his hands.
Oh my God.
But from like his like arms, he looked like he was like late 20s. I saw a white shirt and like khaki pants. So I look up, no one was there. The second time that night, I was ringing somebody up, and I thought I saw someone trying to grab our tip jar from the counter.
Oh, hell no.
And
don't fuck with my money.
The crazy thing is that the lady... No, they got it. The crazy thing is that the lady that was ringing up, she turned at the same time I did, because she thought she saw someone, like a hand.
Yes, so you got validation.
Definitely. And then at the end of the night, I was with Eric, who's the owner of Mystic Museum. He was standing by our front door, and I was leaning against our counter, and we thought we saw somebody trying to walk from the rental that was going on to the store. So this little hallway that's right here, and I heard footsteps, and I look to my left thinking that there was someone coming in, and there was no one there. And I turned to Eric, I'm like, you know what, this is the 3rd time today I keep seeing this guy. And Eric was like, yeah, I saw exactly what you saw too.
You got that validation. I've spoken to Eric before, and he's had a heap of stories attached to this place. And it's not just the place, it's more like the artifacts here that were purchased, and like I think it was movie warehouses or like Paramount or Fox Studios. Like they bought a couple of items that may have brought in some attachments.
Definitely. We had a medium, Mia Morte, in here, and I was telling her that I keep finding items on the floor, like when I know I just passed there and there was nothing there before.
Oh no.
So she told me that there's definitely a spirit of a man that's in the store, and that she's trying to find out what items it was exactly that he was attached to. I have a feeling, I think I know which one it is. I think it's one inside our morning jewelry box that kind of looks like him. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And it's like the same, like almost resembles the same man that you saw around the bar.
Definitely.
He's trying to look for liquor. 20 years old. Think about it.
Yeah, so I think that's who it is. But yeah, I give him attention, so I'm easily scared too, I guess.
I think he likes to purposely pull people's tails and stuff. I think he does it on purpose to scare and get a rise out of everyone.
Definitely. Mia told me he liked me. for
that's good. That's good. You just gotta be like, no me toques. Like, no me toques.
Definitely. I can speak to him in Spanish, no problem, whatever he likes, but I just don't want Ouija boards thrown at my head anymore.
Oh my gosh. I mean, people are afraid of Ouija boards to operate them. Now you got to duck to, avoid them when you're in the shop. Well, thank you so much for sharing your ghost stories attached to the Mystic Museum.
Yep, it's only been a month, so hopefully
I think it'll calm down. Guys, we're going to be also interviewing Eric and is it Kiko, right? Kiko, they are the owners of the Mystic Museum and the Bearded Lady Boutique, which is located right off of Magnolia Boulevard in Burbank. And they have a slew of ghost stories of their own attached to other entities, not just the gentleman, but also there's a little girl entity and I think another one too that I've even heard and seen and witnessed. Yeah, there's a lot of crazy stuff that you guys have here, aside from oddities, but you literally have ghosts.
Yeah, Eric told me he forgot to tell me when I applied that this place was haunted, so I found out on my own.
Score! For me, I've been like, when can I start? When can I begin? Well, thank you so much for sharing your story.
Yeah.
I mean, she's close to the 90 days, so
Yeah.
if you survive working there, you can survive anywhere.
It's time for a raise. I had a customer. Well, I use that term incorrectly. I had a person come into the Chipotle that I worked at and steal our tip jar when I was working there.
No.
It is the angriest I've ever been in my life.
I would be too.
She came and she was homeless. Not to the Chipotle that I worked at had it was right by the Red Line train stop.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of transient friends. So basically it was my entire job was fighting people over whether or not I would give them the restroom code.
Oh no.
And once you've had to scrub shit off the walls, literal shit, you get real sassy real quick. So people be like, can I have the code? I'm like, no, you can't. And they'd be like, what? And I'm like, I'm sorry. Even people who had come through, I'd be like, no, it was on your receipt. If you didn't keep your receipt, I'm not giving it to you. I was crazy. I hated working there. Hated it. It was awful.
Yeah,
it
well,
was really
where you
difficult.
work too is there's a lot of transients, a lot of
so
crazy
this woman,
people.
She came in and she was pretending like she was gonna order something.
Oh no.
And I'm sitting there and then she grabs it and I reached around the counter and grabbed her. I felt a surge of rage in my body and it scared me so much that I let go because I was going to hurt her. I was ready to throw her to the ground.
Okay, what if it was a ghost, Bryce?
It wasn't. It was. I touched it.
Let's say hypothetically.
Yeah.
If you're working at Chipotle and an entity walks in and you're trying to take your tip jar, would you?
Yeah, I would fight a ghost. Yes. Yeah. Fuck that.
We got some salt in the back, bitch.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I could think of the whole time. I was listening. I was
the tip jar.
I've fought over a tip jar. That's got to count for something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, the stories that are attached to this place and her experiences and her validation, people,
I know the validation is huge.
Yeah, people witnessed it.
Yeah.
People, and I saw those boards, and I'm like, they have a lot of weight.
Mm-hmm.
They can slide, but the way she showed me how they fell over, it was they fell forward, not under.
Yeah.
They didn't slide. They just it was someone pushed them forward to fall on top of her head.
That's insane.
Now I'm going to show you the picture of the guy.
Oh, God.
That she pointed out. So they have this new thing. It's this glass case of these antiques. Now they're called mourning pins, and they're the pictures of deceased individuals that have passed. So in Victorian times,
I mean, it's they're just asking to be haunted. What?
I know. It's the adoptive home of spirits, wandering spirits. But there's this case, and she showed it to me, and there's all these little pins of all these individuals that I'm assuming that have passed and moved on.
Yeah.
So this is the guy that she pointed out. I'm going to post it on our Instagram again.
Damn.
But I would be haunted by him. I wouldn't mind.
Yeah, he's not bad looking.
He's not bad looking at all.
He could he could maybe tokus me. That's so creepy, though.
He could tokus you, have a nice cocktail, talk about, the afterlife.
Yes, I'm newly single, so
yes
there
we
can
go. I mean,
do
it
what
is
he
LA,
will.
so
Yeah, girl,
here we
real.
are. I know. Rather date a ghost than a narcissist. There you are.
Hilarious.
So, yeah, it's, It's pretty insane. That's a new one that I've heard. Like, I haven't heard of that one last year, but this year when I was talking to her, I'm like, that's new.
That's crazy.
She's like, yeah, because this whole case is new, and I always see him around this case. So
weird.
Yeah,
that's fucking creepy.
I was able to chat with her other coworker, the guy that witnessed the whole Ouija board thing, and he validated it as well.
That's insane.
And I asked him, like, is it true about this dude? He's like, I've seen it. Like, I've seen him in the corner of my eye, and it's always by that glass case.
Damn.
Mm-hmm.
Or the tip jar.
Or the
that
tip
little
jar.
thief.
So I highly recommend, guys, that you definitely go over to Mystic Museum, go see their art installation. They have one of the Evil Dead that goes all the way up until the end of December. So you definitely should catch that out and definitely go support them. They're amazing. They're, local business owners. They love horror. They love the macabre, and they're awesome.
I love that.
Mm-hmm. Hi. Now, we are going to take a nice little Uber ride to Warner Brothers.
Yes.
And guys, I'm so excited for this. So Warner Brothers is located off of 3400 Riverside Drive. And this studio is responsible for making Ghostbusters and other famous horror film franchises like Annabelle, The Conjuring, and so much more.
Yeah.
Even La Llorona, they were responsible for that recent horror film as well. So before we go into the spooks, we'll go into a little history of it, of course. So Warner Brothers Studios were founded in 1918 by the brothers Albert, Harry, Samuel, and Jack Warner. And they were the sons of Jewish parents who had immigrated from the U.S. in the 1890s. So the three eldest brothers had started their careers in the movie theater businesses, acquiring a movie projector. They would travel to these little towns in Pennsylvania and show little films on their projectors and, charge people at the door. So they would travel throughout Pennsylvania and Ohio. And Sam and Albert Warner invested the money to promote the films The Life of an American Fireman and The Great Train Robbery, opening their first theater, The Cascade, in Newcastle, Pennsylvania in 1903. So in 1904, the Warners founded the Pittsburgh-based Duquesne Amusement and Supply Company for the distribution films, but by World War I, they were already producing their own films, eventually opening the Warner Brothers Studios on Sunset Boulevard in Hollywood in 1918. So then through the 20s and the 30s, they expanded. They go to Burbank. Warner Brothers opens their huge lot in Burbank in the 1920s, and they built up one of the most prominent motion picture studios of the golden age of Hollywood. So directors like Daryl F. Zanuck helped to build the studio's prestige in the area, especially with top actors of the time such as John Barrymore, Douglas Fairbanks Jr., and Errol Flynn, and a gradual conversion from silent films to movies with sounds definitely came about. So they were the first production group to come out with the first film that had sound, which was really, really cool. So their movie, The Jazz Singer, starring Al Jolson, signaled the beginning of the era of talking pictures. However, after the death of Sam Warner, Jack becomes the sole head of production, and in the years to come, he ran the studio with an iron fist. So oftentimes he was, firing actors who didn't want to work or causing problems and grief, and other studio employees that were being lazy. Under his control, the studio expanded by acquiring other properties such as the Stanley Corporation, a major theater chain, and partial and eventual complete shares in rival First National Pictures. Harry's son, Louis, became the manager of Warner Brothers Music, built from Brunswick Records. Today, the studio has expanded into a massive multi-billion-dollar company branched out into TV, cable, and magazine industries, all under the Time Warner Corporation, of course.
Yes.
And
you know how I love mega corporations.
Do I smell a rant coming?
No, what's the point?
What's the point?
Yes.
Now we can go into the hauntings. You can
Yes.
definitely take tours of Warner
Yes.
Brothers, but you can also take an after-hours tour.
I will not be doing that, but yes.
Well, in the after-hours tour, they'll take you to specific lots to have some unusual and unexplainable stories that have been documented by staff members, by security guards and other officials that they can't even explain.
Wow.
So, according to a friend of mine who had taken the tour, I think last year, she said that it usually runs throughout October and November. I think the cost of the tour is $56 or $59, and it's pretty much like kind of like not a walking tour, but you go in a golf cart and they just travel. I know. So you're like, driven throughout the lots. And
makes sense. That the Warner Brothers lot is massive.
It's huge. It's enormous. So the first place that we're going to stop is the prop warehouse.
Love it.
And
of course that's haunted.
You are not going to want to sit through this, but here we are.
Sure.
Now, Warner Brothers has one of the largest prop warehouses in the area, and they're filled to the top with conceivable objects one might need for a movie or a trilogy, and it is in my opinion that several of these objects are still retaining links with their former owners.
Damn.
Now, the objects have been collected from other studios, old museums, personal donations, and or collections from private individuals. A few assistants that have worked in the warehouse do not like to be there by themselves. According to staff members, shadows float through the shelves, faces watch from overhead, and voices whisper from the shadows.
Nope.
People have felt like they were being watched, and security guards have seen what looks like an image of a man in a navy hat and a fitted black shirt walking around the warehouse past hours on their security cameras.
Damn.
So they will come in thinking, like, did someone break in? Like, what's going on? They'll do a walkthrough. Nothing.
Weird.
And those are actual reports that they have collected. Now, you're not going to like this one, guys. Well, definitely you, Bryce.
I was saying, everyone else, I'm sure, is loving this.
But if you're a fan,
I'm dying.
If you're a fan of the Annabelle franchise,
oh my God, no.
You're going to love the Annabelle doll. I'll talk about Annabelle.
Look, I'll do a lot for Patrick Wilson, but like, ooh.
But to look at this doll. Well, the prop doll, the first one, Annabelle, has a lot of weird juju, and you could find it in the prop warehouse.
I'm sure you could. And I will not be doing that. Of course it is.
But Annabelle has a problem. She doesn't like to be in her glass case.
Oh my God, stop. I'm going to die.
Look, Annabelle is an independent woman, all right?
And I'm here for that as a feminist, but also please stay in your box.
Security footage.
Oh my God.
Has actually captured.
No.
You can hold my hand.
Thank you.
Hold my iced coffee.
Yeah, right.
Has captured lights flickering on and off in her case for no rhyme or reason. So starting in 2016, after the first film, they put the doll in a case to put it on display for the tours. People wanted to see this doll. The lights started flickering. By 2017, the doll kept on falling out of the glass case. It just would, for some reason, be found on the floor. They don't know why. They don't know what happened. But every time they would put her back in the case, she would fall out of the case. Yes. A tour guide came across Annabelle on one of the after-hour tours. So she's like, oh, Annabelle's out of her case. So she puts her back into the case. As she's walking away, continuing with her tour, she looks down at her right wrist and she's like, it's a little, I feel like a prick or a pain. And she has this like a cut, like this pierce on her right wrist. And she's like, did something like pierce through my skin? Like, she was kind of shocked about it. So she goes back and she looks at the doll. She grabs the doll from the case. She's trying to analyze it. She's like, is there a pin sticking out? Like, what was that? No explanation for it. So she kind of, she was freaked out. She put Annabelle back into the case and she like took the door away from the warehouse.
Oh my God.
Yes. So they've tried to wire her into the case and she still somehow manages to come out of the case.
Oh my God. This is no.
But that's not the only story that is attached to the doll.
Not. Oh
we'll get to it later. But there's been a lot of weird ongoings with the franchise of Annabelle and the filming of the Conjuring movies. We'll touch on that very, very soon. We're going to move to the executive building.
Sure.
I think you're going to like this story a little more.
Okay.
So tour guides and security guards have seen and heard a lot in and around the building. Security guards really dislike making rounds inside and even outside this building. And why? Well, the second floor is pretty active with reports of shadow figures and noises of typewriters typing and papers being shuffled, along with what sounds like the banging of filing cabinets past closing hours. Yeah.
Damn.
So there is also a vision of a blonde woman dressed in white that can be seen on the second floor windows. She's beautiful, and her hair is dressed up in the perfect pin curls from the 40s.
Madonna, please get off the Warner Brothers lot.
But like Madonna did sing a song about her.
I love it.
Betty Davis.
Oh my God.
We love you.
Yes.
She is often seen in front of the building. Betty Davis
Amazing.
was contracted by Warner
Yes.
Brothers. And it's Betty Davis that a lot of people have seen
Oh my God.
on the second floor and on the grounds in front of the
Amazing.
building. So guys, if you remember, Betty Davis was contracted by Warner Brothers, and her and Jack Warner were very close friends. And there were also stories of her, like, in between her shots and breaks, she would always go and bug Jack for something.
Hilarious.
And she would always be, walking around the front, just mingling, just, as if she owned the studios, which, I mean, come on, Grand Dame Betty Davis.
Yeah.
Hell yes, she was the, head bitch over there.
Yes.
So not only that, but she's also buried a few miles away in the Forest Lawn Cemetery. But it is said that she's buried on top of a hill of that cemetery that faces the Warner Brothers studios.
Damn.
So even in her resting place, she has to see her second home.
I love
Because she
that.
considered this studio space her second home.
Yeah.
I mean, 50 films, come on.
Yeah, Jesus.
So Grand Dame Betty Davis has been seen. And why do you think it's Betty Davis? Well, it turned out that a tour guide was giving a tour one night through that area. And she said that she saw this woman dressed up in white, blonde hair, pin curled, just like appeared and disappeared in front of her. So she's telling the story to these other tour guides, and then one of the girls shows her the picture of Betty Davis.
Oh my God.
And she's like, that's the woman I saw. And they were like, you saw Betty Davis. You saw the ghost of Betty Davis.
Holy shit.
Because she didn't know who she was. She's like,
girl.
I know. For one thing, come on. Second, she's like, well, it was just like, she kind of appeared and she disappeared, but she was so beautiful. So,
Damn.
you want to see the ghost of Betty Davis and go to Warner Brothers.
I do love Betty Davis.
All
in
about
her
Eve.
film. Ooh, yes. Whatever happened to
Baby Jane.
Ugh, I'm so obsessed with that movie.
Well, you can still see not Baby Jane. You can still see Betty Davis at the Hollywood Wax Museum.
Yes.
Now we're going to travel to stage 4 and talking about Conjuring.
Ooh.
Now, we thought that stage 9 was going to be the most haunted stage. Well, ever since the filming of the Conjuring series and the Annabelle series,
Yeah.
there's been a lot of weird things that have happened. We have a friend named Claudia that works for the Costumes Union 705 in Los Angeles.
Yes.
And she has a group of friends that have worked on the Conjuring movie sets, the Annabelle and the Paranormal Activity movie sets, and they have confirmed that a lot of weird things have happened on those sets for
Hold me
no
closer,
apparent
Patrick Wilson.
reason. Yeah, so we're going to try to get them on here. If you girls are listening, we definitely want to bring you on this show so you guys can share those tales.
Yes.
So, according to the tour guides, the soundstage 4 is where they film Conjuring 1 and 2.
I weirdly love the Conjuring series. As scared as I am of horror movies, I love them. They're
You
so
also
good.
love Patrick Wilson.
That definitely is what brought me in. I'm not gonna lie, because I do love him. I think he's a great actor, and I want to have his children. But I also, of all the horror movies, those are the ones that I like the
Pretty
best.
damn good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at me being so brave.
Now, Warner Brothers had to build a water tank for Conjuring 2, and they had a lot of water scenes that they needed to shoot. So they used stage 4. They built a humongous water tank for these scenes, and the department head, Chuck, that was there to oversee the tank and all its, activities, would always be the last one to leave. So he would, do his rounds, close up. But one night, one night he was going down the stairs, and it felt like someone tried to push him down the stairs. He turned around and no one was there. And then another night, it was even stranger. Well, he was about to lock up and leave stage 4 when he started to hear what sounded like banging coming from the water tank.
Ugh.
Like he felt like there was someone trapped in the water tank and they were banging against the wall of the tank.
Ugh.
And he just couldn't explain it. He was freaked out. He rushed out. But other cast and crew members have noticed in the catwalks of the stage 4 that they've seen figures. They've seen shadow figures. They would ask, you know, the crew, like, who's up there? And the crew said, well, there shouldn't be anyone up there. Everyone should be on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yuck.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my God.
It got so bad, the activity, that they had to bring a priest to stage 4 to bless it.
Oh, my God.
And you think the activity was going to cease. It didn't. It made things a lot worse. People were being pushed. People were being scratched.
Because then at that point, it's like you're trying to get rid of me. So I'm going to, like, fuck with... Oh, my God, that's so scary.
Mm-hmm. You're, like, shaking so
I know. Like, no. I'm not here for this.
So, yeah. So, like, those series of Annabelle and Conjuring have definitely conjured up something that is no bueno. No bueno.
And yet they keep making movies.
Yeah, because the franchise is freaking popular.
Yeah, it is. Jesus.
Oh, yeah, it's popping.
There's like, what? How many things in that universe now? Like 8 movies? Mm-hmm. Jesus.
Oh, yeah. Now we're going to move next door to, well, further down to stage 8. Security guards would hear laughter of children.
Oh, God. You know how I feel about ghost children.
Oh, yes. So security guards would have to do their rounds. They have to do their walkthroughs, check and double check that the doors are locked. Well, it seemed that one or a couple of security guards have gone into stage 8 and done walkthroughs and quit on the spot because stage 8 freaked them out because they would go in and it sounds like children are there running around in the dark and laughing. Yeah. One security guard had claimed that he saw a child inside stage 8. And when he approached the child disappeared in front of him.
Gross.
And on that night, he turned in his badge and said, this is not for me.
Yeah, you are not paying me enough.
Now we're going to go to stage 9. And before the Conjuring and Annabelle series, stage 9 was pretty active. It was the most active stage. It was the most eerie stage. So over the years, stage 9 had been used for several popular notorious horror movies, from The Black Cat in 1927 to The Inheritance in 2005.
Such a good movie.
Oh yeah. Several studio employees and production assistants tend to believe that stage 9, well, before stage 4, was the most haunted structure on the lot, pointing to a high count of casualties and accidents there as proof.
Damn.
Now, rumor has it that people have felt like they were being watched. They would see figures appearing and disappearing on the sidelines of the structure. And back in the days of silent films, the old electric lights used in filmmaking could get extremely hot. And at least 3 times a day in the 30s, fires started here and there. Yeah, but there was one fire that broke out, and it was the worst disaster on the lot. Now, on May 11th of 1933, a fire broke out during the filming of The Iron Sheik, and it took the whole entire set, all of its props, its costumes. It took the lives of 7 actors and even workers. It critically injured and burned 20 people.
Oh my God.
It was attracted to sulfurous powder used to create smoke, so it just like ignited and made everything worse. It soon spread beyond stage 4 to stages 8 and even stage 10, where it took part of the set of The War Between the States, which was a Civil War movie. Now, the fire was eventually contained and put out, but the Iron Sheik was shelved and never finished. For years later, other motion pictures shot and restored in the building and reported finding extras where no one should be, voices for help where no one... Oh yeah, voices saying help.
Oh my God.
There's even a story that's attached to it. It's a legend of a disconnected phone in the building that is known to ring, and whenever someone answers it, no one's on the line. Even security guards do not like making their rounds in the building. Instead, they would send novice security guards, new on the job, to walk the structure. So according to one story I found online on angelfire.com, security guard Gore Madison states, I get the feeling of being watched in there. It's like you go in expecting to see someone loitering around the corner, but then you turn around and no one's there, but the feeling that someone is still there won't ever go away. So security guards would also see an apparition of a man that's dressed in period wear, but the problem is the man is partially charred.
Oh my God. Little crispy ghost.
And then finally, I got the best story of them all.
Oh God.
So I found out through this tour that James Dean is seen there.
Interesting.
Because James Dean shot all 3 of his biggest films, Giant, East of Eden, and Rebel Without a Cause, all on the Warner Brothers lot. So James Dean was widely known in and around this lot for causing a little chaos.
Hilarious.
He would piss Jack Warner off with his loud motorcycles and sports cars. But he loved his dressing room so much that it was like his second home. He would even get, approval to allow him and his friends to stay the night inside his dressing room.
Damn.
And also he was a bit socially awkward and shy, so he just liked the fact that that dressing room was his safe space. So after his death, people started to see what looked like an apparition of James Dean around his dressing room. Security guards to this day would see a figure of a man in the windows.
That's kind of creepy, but James Dean's hot, so whatever.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll suffer in silence.
I would definitely like to be haunted by James Dean's ghost. Now, on these specific tours after hours, tour guides have claimed that there's this one particular area on the lot. It's like their town center lot. And it's a lot where it has a gazebo. It has like town square, has a church and a couple of houses. Monster Squad, the Ghostbusters, and Elvira, Mistress of the Dark was shot there. Even a couple of scenes for Annabelle was shot there in the church. So there is this little chapel. When you do take the tours, even the after hours and the, regular hours tour, every time a tour guide would talk about James Dean, the doors of the church would open up by themselves.
That's insane.
And it would only happen when you would talk about James Dean.
Oof.
So that's a little something unexplainable.
Hey, James.
And that is The Haunting of Warner Brothers. And here's a little tidbit too. There is no stage 13 because Jack Warner was extremely superstitious. So Warner Brothers doesn't have a stage 13.
Does it skip or they only have 12?
It just skips.
Love it.
Because he was super, super superstitious.
Oof.
So yeah, that is all of our stories.
Yes, what a beautiful tour of Burbank.
A little tour of Burbank, guys. Just a little piece of Americana right there.
Yeah.
Of ghosts.
Haunted Americana.
Of ghosts and all. So guys, we just wanted to take the time to do a big shout out to one particular listener.
Yes.
Suzanne Stewart.
Hi.
I felt like we needed to give you a shout out because you sent us such a beautiful message on Facebook.
I know, it was so sweet.
And we hope that you're listening.
What if she hasn't gotten to this episode yet?
Oh my gosh, she will. No,
We'll
she
just be
won't.
waiting for her. I love that. Because I think she said in her thing that she's like catching up on old episodes.
Yeah, she will. She'll catch up.
Oh
on
my
this.
God. I hope it's in like 6 months. I'm like, what?
Well, I'm going to write back to her. I just wanted to find more time to sit down and write back.
It
So
was so
guys, if we
sweet.
don't message you guys right away, it's because I don't want to send like a half-ass message. We want to sit down and send something meaningful. But
You deserve a full-ass
yes,
message.
you do. So Suzanne, thank you so much for that sweet
It was so
message. We
sweet.
just
Thank
wanted
you.
to take the time to thank you. Also, a big thank you to our patrons. Thank you to Jose Ramirez,
Hi.
Jessica Hang from Singapore.
Yes.
Don't worry, girl. We're
Hi.
going to be sending you your free merch. If I could send merch to New Zealand and South Africa, I could definitely send it to Singapore. It will get there. Don't worry about
That is
it.
the one thing I miss about the school. I loved that mail machine
I
so
know.
much.
Oh, yes. You better believe.
I love it.
Another thank you to Jonathan Murphy,
Hi.
Therese Media, Michelle, Robert McDonald, and Cheryl Lodovico.
Hi, everyone.
Thank you guys so much for signing up
sweet.
for our Patreon. Just another thing too, Bryce, you see that right there?
I do.
You want to hold it?
Sure.
That is our new Zoom mic.
It's amazing.
So when we go,
I thought it was a razor at first. Because it looks like a little electric razor.
It does.
It's so cute and tiny.
So this is our Zoom H2N mic, and it is an amazing mic that we're going to use when we, do other interviews with or crossovers with other podcasters.
Yes.
And Magic Quest Boys will definitely do ours. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Hi.
It's great for investigations and other, interviews, especially for our Saturday Night Ghost Club. So if you guys are out of the loop, Saturday Night Ghost Club is another incentive when you sign up to become a Patreon.
Yes.
So it is a Saturday Night Ghost Club series of stories. It's like a little mini podcast that we have for our Patreons on our Patreon page, where I collect ghost stories from people like Vanessa at the Mystic Museum and other people that are willing to share their spooky tales of the paranormal. So everyone from friends, coworkers, people that I usually meet at a coffee shop or sidewalk that are willing to share their stories, I collect them and upload them to our Patreon page for the Saturday Night Ghost Club.
Yes.
We've also put the previews on our episodes, so you guys can get a little amoosh boosh with that.
Ooh,
I know.
Fancy as fuck.
Now, speaking of Patreon, guys, if you want to be Holly Weird producers, well, you can be that by donating as little as $1 or more a month for just a couple of months, or even just for 1 month. It does go a long way.
Yes, it does.
We were able to purchase this mic with your donation, so thank you so much. And we're currently going to be saving up for other things too, but it also helps with our hosting sites. It helps with our coffee fix and our transportation when I go and do investigations and interviews. It's
the therapy
really,
that I need
seriously,
for the fear.
It does help us out a lot. Just for $1 or more, you can definitely help produce our episodes and even episodes for Saturday Night Ghost Club.
Love it.
Yes. So can't get enough of Holly Weird Paranormal? Then stalk us on Instagram and Facebook at Holly Weird Paranormal and Twitter at HWP Podcast. If you have a story for our listeners' stories episodes or our listeners' tales, then please send them our way at hollyweirdparanormal@gmail.com. Catch up with our past episodes on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Blueberry.net, Stitcher, even Spotify, Google Play, and CastBox. We are everywhere you get your podcast fix.
We're everywhere.
If you have a couple of seconds, please leave us a nice little review. Rate us on Apple Podcasts. It really does help us indie podcasters become a little more visible.
Yes, don't let us fade away.
Please don't. But we've seen a couple of your reviews, guys, and thank you. But there's one that wasn't so great.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah, this one says, the needlessly superior attitude of the hosts, along with their we're better than the rest of the world because we're from LA.
It does seem like me.
Point of view is impossible to fathom since their intelligence is subpar, average
for sure.
at best, absolutely unlistenable. Other podcasts cover the same subjects without insulting the listener's intelligence.
Well, I am not smart, so that's actually
We've
a very
covered that several times.
accurate read.
Like, I don't know how many times we need,
know.
and I mean, sorry, but LA is the best coast. One of the best coasts.
I think I've actually even talked about that I don't love LA. What? But if I ever made someone feel stupid, that obviously is not my intention. But
No.
I am dumb, so that actually is a fair
I mean,
read.
that's
So,
fine. I mean,
get
average
it.
is pretty much the best description, but...
Yeah, let me show you my high school
Sorry,
GPA.
not sorry.
I don't know what to tell you. Like, sorry.
I mean, I got my master's. I mean...
Yeah. That's really funny.
If I could, like, survive learning how to use GarageBand, then I'm sure I could,
Look, we're just trying our... I don't even know. We're just trying to make our way in the world.
Yeah. But all criticisms are the best criticisms in the world. What are you going to do?
Ultimately, like, if it's not your cup of tea...
It's not your cup of tea. It's fine. I mean, there's other people that like the spooky ass tea, and we're here to, definitely spill the tea, the spooky tea, of course.
Tea.
All right, guys. So stay tuned for future episodes because we are definitely going to be conjuring up some really great interviews. We got a haunted house in Pasadena.
Yes.
We have a true crime case. Yes, we have a listener that has a story of a friend that was a victim of a murder.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, it's actually a case out of West Hollywood.
Damn.
In the 80s. And we're definitely going to do some research and cover it and give it some justice and give it some light.
Yeah. Love that.
So we're definitely going to look into that, and we're definitely going to do more interviews. We're going to try to get Zachariah the Witch on, Eric and Kiko on here from the Mystic Museum.
Yes.
So yeah, we got a lot of crazy things planned, of course.
Crazy, stupid things. Average at best.
Average.
I actually think that's really funny. I can't stop giggling about it.
But when I was reading, I'm like, I'm not that mad. I'm like, it's kind of true.
Yeah, like, what are you going to do?
fine.
Honestly,
It's fine.
I get it.
She probably didn't have a prom date, but it's all right.
Girl shade.
Come on.
Hilarious.
I mean, no one does petty like people from New Orleans. Here we are.
And I went to 4 years of prom, so suck it. Oh, is that? Oh, you know what? Now that I'm listening to myself, I do hear the sense of, what was it? Superiority?
Superiority.
Now that I hear it. Okay,
Yeah,
fair enough.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. All right. Guys, stay Holly weird.
Bye.
Bye.